So I just watched Supergirl and I liked it. Yeah, I actually did. Spoiler warnings, by the way, if you haven't seen Supergirl. So here's some backstory or lore from me. Prior to 2025's Superman, I wasn't exactly a Superman fan because you see, Henry Cavill's Superman wasn't really a great Superman in my opinion, and it just encouraged the opinion that Superman was either a boring character or a psychotic one or both. So when I watched James Gunn's Superman for the first time, it was so good that I instantly fell in love with the character. And at the end of the movie, we had a cameo by Supergirl, played by Millie Alcock. So of course, I waited for a year for the next movie, Supergirl, and when it came out, the reviews weren't that good. Now, as a female-led superhero movie, I kind of got that, yeah, people are gonna trash on the movie just because there's a woman as the lead. So when the reviews started coming saying it was bad, I didn't really give a fuck about those reviews. And I decided to just go in the movie and have a good time if I could. Now, going into the movie, I did something different. You see, I've grown up watching the MCU. And one thing I never did was I tried not to read the comic that the movie or show was based on before watching the movie or the show. It's mostly because I know that if I read the comics, then part of me will always compare the movie to the comics, and part of my enjoyment would be to how accurate the movie was to the comic. And I didn't want that because, for instance, Civil War. The movie Captain America Civil War was great, yes, but the comics is really better. I read the comics a few years before, so when I watched the movie, of course, I did compare. Well, in the comics, we actually had the characters like Daredevil and Fantastic Four, but in the movie, we didn't, and that kind of affected my enjoyment of the movie. So for Supergirl, since I was really excited for it, I didn't want to do any of that. But people said that the comic was good, so I did buy Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow. I did read it before watching it, and I gotta say, I still like the movie. Now, I think I'm gonna start off by downer and just say that for me, I think that the plot is the weakest aspect of the movie. The plot is the weakest because, yeah, they had to compress a lot of stuff from the comics into the movie, and that's the bad part because the movie tried to basically do a visual movie retelling of the comics, which I don't really like because I would have preferred if they took elements from not just this comic but from other different comic books and actually made a new original story out of it instead of just copy pasting. But there are some things that I think were better and worse. And firstly, for the worst, as I said, they had to compress a lot of stuff. One of my favorite chapters in the Supergirl comic was when Supergirl was stranded on the planet where she had to endure the green sun for 9 hours. And although the movie did do that, it meant that they kind of had to cut it down, so we didn't really get to really experience Kara suffer through the green sun. However, some of the things that they did do in the movie were better. For example, I really like that in the movie, Crypto actually had stakes because in the comic, it was revealed at the end, oh, we were just kidding, Crypto was actually fine, he was on Earth, he didn't really need the antidote. However, my biggest problem is how they changed the ending. Because you see, I did have a problem with the ending in the comics because at the climax, Ruthie fights Krem, and then after that, Supergirl's about to kill Krem, but then Ruthie tells her to stop, and it's meant to be like the culmination of her arc where she doesn't give in to revenge and start the violence all over again. So instead, they lock up Krem in the Phantom Zone. So far, so good. However, in the actual end, it's revealed that around 70 years after the events of the comics, they release Krem from the Phantom Zone. He's all reformed, and Ruthie gets to kill him. Now, I don't like this ending because it made the original end useless. Like, what's the point of Ruthie talking Supergirl out of killing Krem if she's just gonna kill him after. So I was hoping that the movie would improve on the ending. However, in the movie, Supergirl kills Krem. Now, both endings in my opinion are bad, but I think I'll say that the movie is a bit worse because narratively it makes more sense for Ruthie to be the one to kill Krem instead of Supergirl, because Supergirl's only motivation is that she wants to save Crypto, while Ruthie actually has a motivation to want to kill Krem. Also, I said another bad thing is that because the movie isn't as long as the comic book, the characters don't really get time to bond with each other. So like Supergirl and her relationship with Ruthie, they kind of feel hollow, and they didn't really clash as much. Like, yeah, they disagree. Supergirl calls her annoying and stuff, but it's not like in the comics where they call out each other on their short comics and actually force each other to improve. Well, they also show that they have each other's back. Like, one of my favorite parts of the comic was when Supergirl was stuck on the planet with the Green Sun, Ruthie actually had to stay guard and defend Supergirl, which was nice, but sadly it wasn't in the movie. So the plot is a mixed bag. I do see why they chose to adapt this story for the movie. However, as said, I do wish that they just instead took elements from other comics as well, instead of just picking one comic story and actually made a new and interesting story out of it. Now, another criticism I've heard is that the movie feels a bit too much like Guardians of the Galaxy in terms of music and visuals. And for the music, yeah, I understand it. However, I don't know, I kind of like the music. My only downside to the music is that when the first trailer came out and they played Call Me by Blondie, I thought it was a really great song choice. However, they didn't use it in the movie, and personally, this is just me, but I think it would have been a lot better if in the final battle they played Call Me while Supergirl is defending Ruthie from all the bad guys. Now, visually, I kind of disagree in that it feels so Guardians-y. Like, I see the similarities, however, the thing about Supergirl is that I think it feels distinct enough because it looks more dirtier, more grittier. Like, Guardians does it in a way that it shows, oh, look at like how vast, how beautiful the galaxy could be, while Supergirl does it in a more, look how disgusting and evil and dirty the universe could be. So I think there is some difference. Now, for the characters, there's not really much to say. Krem in the comics isn't exactly a great villain, so yeah, it was disappointing that he wasn't as great in the movie. Although one thing I'd say is that the comics just told what Krem did. They did show the aftermath, but it was more, oh, Krem killed these people over here. But in the movie, it was nice that we do see Krem actually do some evil stuff, showing that this guy's really fucked up. He needs to get taken care of. As for Lobo, it was fun to see Jason Momoa have fun in the role, heck, even more fun than Aquaman. Although you could cut him and nothing would change, so it's more of a glorified cameo. Now, the character who gets the short end of the stick really is Ruthie, because yeah, in the comics she is kind of useless. However, the thing about the comics is that it is more of Ruthie's story than Supergirl. So we are seeing it in Ruthie's eyes. We are seeing Supergirl through her eyes, and it's mainly her arc. Like, Supergirl is more of a mentor character. But in the movie, Ruthie just is there in the background. Like, she doesn't do anything. She doesn't really help the plot move forward. She doesn't cause Supergirl to really grow as a character, I think, and she doesn't really help. Like, to be honest, I think that like Lobo, if you just cut Ruthie out of the movie, then nothing really changes. This isn't a diss on Eve Ridley, which is impressive considering like this is one of her first few roles, if I'm not mistaken, and she filmed this when she was what, 12 or 13 years old. So kudos to Eve Ridley. However, I really think that the movie didn't do her any justice, especially since, yeah, it didn't really give her an interesting arc to begin with. So I think it really is lost potential. And again, since it is just a 2-hour movie, we didn't really get much time with her or even to explore her relationship with Kara. So that's a bummer. However, I really have to say that the big standout of this, to no surprise, really is Millie Alcock as Kara Zor-El or Supergirl. Like, she is amazing. Like, admittedly, the script could have used maybe, I don't know, another rewrite, some more polishing, but Millie Alcock really makes it work. Like, she is so great that she does not deserve the bullying that the internet is giving her, and I really think that she is the definitive version of Supergirl. I haven't seen the Helen Slater Supergirl yet, but my problem with Melissa Benoist's Supergirl is that she's basically a gender swapped Superman. Like, she doesn't really have the personality of Supergirl that sets her apart from Superman. And Sasha Calle, as good as she was great in The Flash. She only got to do it once, and it wasn't even technically the main DCEU's version of Supergirl, so I can't really judge. However, Millie Alcock, the thing about her Supergirl is that, yeah, she has a certain edge and aggressiveness to the character that really does set her apart from Superman, who's supposed to be full of hopium. And I really like how her acting really conveys how sad, how lonely she really is, and she just doesn't want to be alone. Like, the emotional scenes of the movie only work because Millie Alcock really delivered on the acting. Top marks acting from her. Now, the movie as a whole, admittedly, it isn't as good as Superman, and if you're expecting something of the same quality as Superman, then you'll be disappointed. However, I personally think that if you just ignore the mean things that the internet is saying, go in to have a fun superhero movie, I think you're gonna enjoy it. It's not a movie that will change your life like Superman, but I think it definitely is worth a watch, and it isn't a disaster that people are saying. So with that, to wrap up my first review video of Supergirl, here's what we're gonna do. From now on, whenever I review something, I'm gonna score it twice. I'm gonna score it in terms of quality, but also in terms of personal enjoyment. Because, well, I could enjoy a bad movie or I could hate a good movie. So yeah, I think both ways of scoring are really valid, and I shouldn't compromise one for the other. So let's just do it that way. In terms of quality, I will give Supergirl a 7 out of 10. It's a 7 out of 10 because I did like it, although I really think that they could have done better. However, in terms of personal enjoyment, I'm really gonna give it a 9 out of 10. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. To be honest, when I was watching it the first half, it was gonna be a 6, but then I was enjoying it so much in the second half that it went up to an 8. But Millie Alcock really elevated it, so it is now a 9 out of 10. So yeah, quality 7, enjoyment 9. I guess if you want an average, go ahead, 8 out of 10. But that's how I'll rank it. So yeah, go check out Supergirl. Thanks for watching.